Hey guys, we're here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest album from Imperium Dekadenz, When We Are Forgotten, out August 30th on Napalm Records. This album has 13 tracks, 1 hour and 12 minutes in length, and it's the band's 6th full-length album. After listening to this album, I'm 100% sure that they will not be forgotten, and this album will not be forgotten. This is a really well-crafted, really well-put-together record from all different perspectives. Overall, if I'm looking at the genre, I would say that this is an atmospheric melodic black metal record. Not that every song falls into that category, by no means, but overall, if you have to evaluate the overall body of work of this record, that is the category that you would place it in. But every single song has something different to offer, has a different style to offer, a different vibe to offer, some more atmospheric, some more melodic, some almost stripped down your straight up black metal tracks. So there's a little bit of everything within that black metal genre, and then obviously they incorporated that more melodic approach and that atmospheric approach to the record to give it a little bit more life, to give it a little bit more soul. This is a record that really pulls at those three components to really create a record that has its own life, that has its own path. This is a very robust, very thick record, and to me that thickness of sound, a feel of atmosphere really comes from the combination of those three elements. The atmospheric element, the melodic element, and obviously the black metal element. These three coming together into this record really allow the album to stay linear, concise, really taking you from point A to point B in the shortest distance possible, but not allowing the record to be mundane. Combining those three elements, allowing the songs to have its own DNA, its own heartbeat, if you will, allows the overall record to have a lot of life. Even though it's very concise, it has a lot of moving parts, it has a lot of elements, it has a lot of things that really capture your attention all the way from the first to the last track. One of them, in my opinion, is the structure of the record. I really like how this album is structured. I like the fact that they included some intro tracks throughout the record, not just to start off the record. Actually, the record doesn't even start off with an intro track, but they included some shorter tracks that work as intro tracks throughout the record, or as bridge tracks that really build a bridge between two separate songs. I like that. It works well on this record. Not sure that this would work on another different kind of record, but for this one, considering the style, the melody, the atmosphere, the feel, the heartbeat that the overall record has, I really like this approach. I really like this structure. It really gives a little bit of an up and down feel throughout the album. And that is enough to really create a little bit of a wave, to create a little bit of a change here and there from an album that overall feels very concise, very put together, very tight, very robust. There's a few elements that I feel like I have to address. One of them is the atmospheric side of things. I really felt that from an atmospheric perspective, this record really brings a lot of emotions to the forefront. It brings out pain, it brings out anger, melancholy, loneliness, darkness. These are some of the feelings that you get listening to this record, specifically from the atmospheric side of things and how they structured the songs and how they created this magnificent aura around the tracks. From a sound perspective, to me, this album feels unclean. It doesn't feel polished at all. Having said that, it works for this record, it works for this sound, and it works for this specific style of tracks. So I like that. I like the fact that it sounds rugged, it sounds dirty, it sounds alive. It doesn't sound like something that was overworked in the studio, really refined, really cleaned. No, it sounds almost like something out of a jam session. It has a lot of rawness to it. And that to me was extremely important when you consider the atmospheric elements of the record, the lyrics of the record, and obviously the vocals on the record. These elements all put together allow that roughness to really work, allow the album to have this sort of a rugged edge, if you will, that really works well for this specific record, for this specific sound. There are a lot of great melodic riffs throughout the record. Once again, these riffs really work well with the atmospheric side of things as well. There's a perfect symbiosis throughout this record, combining melody that gives the album obviously a melodic approach, but at the same time, that same melody also has a little bit of melancholy, a little bit of darkness and loneliness to it. That when you combine the vocals into that mix, you have all the perfect ingredients in order to have an album that has a lot of life, that has a lot of approach, a moving forward approach to it, that has ups and downs, not really not really accentuated ups and downs. It's very smooth all the way through, but you can feel like there are some ups and downs that just allow the record to kind of lullaby you through from all the way from the first song to the last song. I like everything surrounding this record. I really like the approach. I like all the little details that went into the construction of the record. Like I said, the structure, the sound, the overall atmosphere, the overall vibe. And to me, one of those key approaches, which is that ruggedness that I talked about, is extremely important for this record. I don't think this overall record would have worked without those intro/bridge tracks that they included in the structure of the album, and the ruggedness, that dirty, that unpolished feel that the overall album has. To me, those were two elements that were extremely important in order to make this album work all the way through in terms of the style, the atmosphere, and the sound that it has. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I'm going to start off with my favorite track on this album, A Cave Called Wisdom. I absolutely love this song. From the moment I heard this song, I never could play this album without at least repeating this song 2 or 3 times through it. I love the melodic approach that this track has. I'm not going to lie, this is what captivated me to this song, the melodic guitar riff. Just absolutely incredible. It has a little bit of melancholy to it, but it's also haunting and beautiful at the same time. I really like how it sounds. And it was, like I said, the first thing that really attracted me to this track. The darkness of the vocals really works as a counterbalance to how melodic that guitar riff is. So the two of them almost feel like the yin and the yang, battling for supremacy throughout this whole song. A song that really has in its soul the balance between melody and darkness. That is the key component of this track all the way through. That is what holds this song together, and that is what allows the song to have a little bit of alternating moments between that beautiful melancholic melody and the darkness and aggression that comes from the other side of the track. So I really like the overall structure of the track. I love that fight for supremacy between these two worlds. So it gives you a little bit of an up and down, not really accentuated up and down. There's no peaks and valleys per se, but you feel like there is changes in direction as the song progresses. My absolute favorite track on the record. Next is Transcendence. I really enjoy this track as well. This is very similar to A Cave Called Wisdom. The only difference I found between these two songs is that Transcendence does not have those slight ups and those slight downs. It's more linear in structure. It's pretty much what you get at the beginning is what you're going to get all the way through, all the way towards the end. So this is not a song that has those slight peaks and those slight valleys. It's more linear all the way through. It has a dark guitar riff that really holds your hand and guides you through the track. It is really your guide towards this song. I really like that riff. I really like the darkness that it has, the darkness that it gives to the song. The vocals offer a sense of heavy despair, which is the perfect partner to that sound that the guitar has, to that melody that the guitar has. So you have two elements that are very similar in nature, and you would think that they would overall overshadow the track, but they don't. They really work well, and they pair up perfectly in order to create a song that has a sense of heaviness, has a sense of dragging, it has a sense of despair to it. I like how those two elements have similar aspects, have similar features, but they don't really they don't become overbearing. They just really work well together in order to take you from the beginning of the track all the way to the end, really feeling like you're part of it, that you feel like you're dragging yourself through it as well. Really like that. But like I said, one of the more linear tracks, but also one of the more captivating and mesmerizing songs on the record, because it almost feels like it's putting you in a trance all the way through. You almost don't notice the song going by and finishing. It just has this really captivating nature to it. Last but not least, My Solace Part 2. This to me is a song that if you have to create, if I have to tell you in one track what this album is all about, I would pick this song. To me, this is the perfect synopsis of what this whole album has to offer, not only musically, but also lyrically and vocally. To me, this song is it. This is the synopsis of the record. This is a more atmospheric, very dark atmospheric track, way more atmospheric than the previous two that I mentioned. Those ones were almost more melodic black metal tracks. This one has a lot more atmospheric elements to it. It has also a very captivating guitar melody. It just really works really well for this track. The drums add darkness. They add a sinister atmosphere to the song, and then when you combine the guitars with the drums on this specific track, you're really creating an overall blanket, an overall mist, an overall atmosphere that surrounds this song, and it just engulfs it. It just really takes it over. The vocals are the perfect match for that sound. I really like what they did. The vocals almost sound like whispers at the wind. They almost sound like they're coming at you from a well. So it has a sense of darkness to itself. It has a sense of despair, and has a sense of fading away. Like it just has this overall atmosphere that is not only present in the music, but is also present in the way the vocals are coming at you. So the overall song has a lot of atmospheric elements to it throughout. I really like what they did here. It's a song that's filled, drenched in melancholy, and really works really well when you combine all of these moving parts. And like I said, if you're looking at a track that is the synopsis of the overall record, of how this record feels and sounds, this song, My Solace Part 2, really is that track in my opinion. Alright guys, this is it. This is Imperium Dekadenz with their latest album, When We Are Forgotten, out August 30th on Napalm Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.